welcome to Tarot with Tanya, 7 cards for 7 days. We are looking at the week of August 7th through the 13th, that Monday to a Sunday. And we are beginning with the moon in Taurus on Monday, and then we will end next weekend with the moon in Cancer, so that the Taurus is ruling the nose, throat, ears, and then you work down the body, and when we get to the Cancer, that rules the stomach, some say the womb too. We also have Leo still retrograde in, excuse me, I said that wrong. We have Venus retrograde in Leo, so that very loving feminine planet in the fiery sign of Leo. So there could be relationship things, there could be creativity that she wants to use in passionate ways. That's going to be going on for a while longer. And then in Virgo we have Mars, so a lot of energy there, maybe for getting detailed work done. And Mercury is there as well, and later in the month we'll be going retrograde. So please consider liking, sharing, subscribing if you're so inclined. That would be wonderful. And thank you in general for being here. Today we will use the Morgan Greer deck for the reading, and then finish off with an oracle card from the Winged Enchantment. So in terms of looking for a theme for the week, there are definitely some pairs going on, and it's a pretty masculine dominated week energetically, because we have 3 swords and then we have a wand, only one of the so-called feminine elements, and then a couple of majors. So there is some of this pairing energy going on, a couple of 9s. I think numerologically, yeah, that's all we've got in terms of number pairs. And you know, some things will emerge, but one of the things that seems to be here is thoughts and words, a lot of that kind of energy, because of the cards, the King of Swords, the 3 of Swords, and then we end with the 4 of Swords. So there's going to be a lot going up here, perhaps a lot expressed or wanting to, and you know, we want to try to do that with some mindfulness. So on our Monday the 7th, we have the King of Swords, and this is the mastery of verbal ability, of thoughts. One of the things that I've always liked about this particular depiction is that he holds these sheets of wheat up with the sword. So there is the sense of a sharp object can also harvest what we need, our sustenance and so forth. So that to me has always made him just a little bit softer. And then of course he's got a little bit of the green man energy with all of those, I think, oak leaves close to the head and shoulder there. So that's what starts us off for the week. You know, it could be a mastery in thought or verbal ability, really good strong energy that way. The dark side, it could be wanting to say too much. So that's where the mindfulness comes in, where you have to decide or feel your way through. Is this enough or not enough? We get our first major on Tuesday, and that is the Judgment card. And this is a fairly typical depiction. You'll often see a family. The blue is an indication that they are in spirit, not in flesh. And you know, this is supposed to be when the day of judgment happens and the trumpet calls and so forth. And there's a kind of resurrection. And I really believe the worst judgment is the judgment of ourselves. Even as we're dispensing it to others, the one we're really judging is, you know, inside here. So how do we turn judgment against ourselves or another into having good judgment, making good choices? To me, that's that's work. That's part of what we are looking at. It's also the number 20 in the majors, and that aligns it with the 2, the High Priestess. So there also is something about deep intuition, going within, and potentially even seeking out esoteric knowledge, because that's what the high priestess is bringing in and getting down in some kind of coded way. Actually, our second major happens right away this week with the Temperance card. I love the Temperance card. I don't know why, but it's always been one of my favorites in the deck. This is a very mellow looking Temperance. Obviously got the big angel wings. Pretty androgynous looking figure there too. And you know, the main motion in this card, in the various depictions, is mixing things. There's an alchemical aspect to it, like the alchemical marriage. Are we able to balance out our masculine and feminine selves within, to both receive and to give, to provide, to nurture, you know, various things like that. So there's also just another little symbolism piece here. 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the ground. So that is that different mixing of the elements that we're also seeing poured back and forth between those cups. And if we can rise above our egos and learn to blend with our higher selves, and again to balance out the masculine and feminine selves, then we're closer to something that is the inner balance that Temperance represents. It can also be overindulging and needing to, you know, cut back on food and drink, things like that, or whatever we might be overindulging in. On Thursday, we get our really only one kind of challenging card this week, and that is the 3 of Swords, and it just hurts to look at it with that big red heart and those 3 swords piercing right through it, especially as they come out on either side and right down the middle, just like ouch. I don't think anybody likes getting that card, but what can it mean for us in our week? So it's on a Thursday. It's heartbreak. That's a very common association. It could be betrayal as well. It could be being very hard on yourself. The me, myself, I, as in, you know, the 3 here. It has links to mother, father, child, where we all start. Doesn't mean we're raised that way, but we obviously, you know, for the most part, saw some scientific intervention there. You know, that's how we begin. And it can be challenging to go back to that original relationship, especially if it was a challenging one in the family dynamic or whatever, you know, was your growing up situation. We all get hurt, we all hurt, and, you know, this one also has an aspect of watch the nasty words. You know, that's what I was thinking of earlier when I mentioned that. So you've got that really eloquent and elegant King of Swords starting us on Monday, and then by Thursday we get to that little sort of challenging energy of the 3 of Swords. So good day to be grateful. You know, what makes you happy? What can you be grateful for? And then just not try to take too seriously someone's sharp words, perhaps, toward you, or ideas, or, you know, not to express those against another. So then we move into some pairs of 9s, and our first one for Friday is the 9 of Swords. I was just having a conversation with a very dear friend the other day about how so often you'll see a figure in this card who's really beaten down. Maybe the head is bandaged, maybe just very bedraggled, looking beat up in some way. This one looks pretty strong. And there are beliefs going back to the Golden Dawn, esoteric, you know, spiritual society that also studied and created tarot, that this card can be a lot of strength and knowing how to use your energy and when to use your energy. So making wise choices about your energy expenditure is part of that. And you know, nines, you add 9 to anything else and it stays what it is. The 9 doesn't change it. So I've always felt like there's a bit of a magic element, and it's a very peak number because, you know, as soon as we hit that 10, in numerology, the 0 is gone again and we're right back to the 1. So the 9s tend to be quite strong in their energies. So it's fire, it's instinct, it could be knowing, you know, what you need to get a particular task accomplished on an energy level. The next card can help a lot with that too, because it's that second 9, as I mentioned, and this time it is the discs or the pentacles, earth energy. Very practical, and you know, gain is an association with this card, or some people talk about the bird of paradise that sits on her shoulder. Very beautiful bird there. And with those two together, Friday and Saturday, it could be like really amping up your energy, gathering your resources internally, the way that you think about it, and the energy you aim towards something. And then when you get to the Saturday, oh, okay, I really know how to implement this now, and I've got practical energy, hands-on, and it should be a success with that wonderful 9 of Pentacles. We end our week with the third sword, and this time it's the 4th in this week. So this one always has an element of repose to it. It is a death in a way. I mean, people get nervous sometimes when they see this. Sometimes you'll see like a coffin, a tomb underneath, and a knight will be stretched out on top. But it is not about death. It's about a stillness of the mind, a momentary ego death. Can we get quiet enough to receive, to kind of let the static get out of the mind, let the monkey mind settle down, and then receive more true guidance, be able to read energies of other people more clearly, the energies of situations, to listen to your own higher self or your intuition, your guidance, however you connect with that, and however you label it, because that's important too, and we all need terms that work for us individually. So for the week, again, could be some harsh words and thoughts, could also be very generative. There's just that, you know, big challenge on Thursday. But it is minor. That's one nice thing about the 3 of Swords, is that energy moves pretty quickly because it's a minor one. Just, you know, trying not to leave any damage in the wake here. And again, energy with the Temperance for that alchemical balancing out. How do we take the lead and the personality and try to bring ourselves to a more golden state? More heart-centered, more aware of what we're doing in life. So we'll finish our reading with the Winged Enchantment Oracle deck and what came up for us today. Ooh, glare's pretty bad. Let me try this other side. Oh, pretty bad over there too. Maybe that's better. We have Blue Jay. And that happens to be just number 2 in the book. So, you know, it makes me think again of that Judgment card and the High Priestess. And Blue Jay says, I am Blue Jay, the advantage of a quick wit and intellect. I am the first one heard. I am the brightest one seen. I command attention and dive right in. I fear nothing and take what I need. I am the crucial adaptation of a successful life. I have the discipline to master new skills. It is fine to learn new things, but dabbling in too many will keep you scattered. That's one of my problems. I am the need to follow through. I wear the crown of achievement. I am the proper use of knowledge. I think that's super important because Blue Jay can be a little aggressive, you know, the actual animal and the bird, and then this kind of energy. So proper use of knowledge. You may need to be louder to get what you want. You may have to outsmart others, but do not be afraid to draw attention to yourself. Let the world know you are there and ready to take control of your own life. I am incomparable in self-certainty. I am the victory of taking by sheer will, again with moderation and thoughtfulness, and get out into the world and take what you have worked so hard for. You are presence, you are survival, you are bold ambition, you are Blue Jay. And I cannot help but think of that song that I have seen in a commercial or heard in a commercial recently, Girls as Players Too. And the energy here for me is a little bit like, yeah, okay, maybe use that masculine energy. And if you're a person who tends to be a little bit reticent about, going after what you want, maybe you do need to get a little more assertive about that this week. So, beloveds, as always, take what resonates for you, makes you happy, feels right, intrigues you, hits your curiosity, whatever. Mostly rings true, I think, and leave the rest behind. It's a general reading. We can't hit everything, but I do wish you a wonderful week. And if there are other things that you would like for me to look at, to address in these readings, please let me know. Otherwise, hope to see you next week.